Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of the Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101, and I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today, I'm going to be talking about moral, legal, and ethical. That's a subject that should come easy to a whole bunch of people, but sadly it doesn't. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys I'm going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada this year on July 15th and 16th. I'm going to be a part of the Food Truck Owners Expo. I'm going to be giving 2 classes. I'm going to kick off the campfire sessions. And I'm going to be out on the main expo floor as a part of my National Street Food Vendors Association booth. You guys can come sit down, talk to me, ask all kinds of questions, and just really hang out and have a great time with us in Las Vegas. Again, that's July 15th and 16th. If you're interested in going, get your tickets today. Go to FTOexpo.com, place that order, and when you do, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. So let's talk about moral, legal, and ethical. What's the difference for food truck owners? Should be pretty simple, I would hope, but sadly it's not. So let's break it down one at a time. What is moral? Morals are personal. They come from your sense of right and wrong that was shaped by how you were raised, so it's your parents, your culture that you live in, and then your personal beliefs. Pretty simple. Moral. So for example, imagine that after a long shift, you got some leftover food. Now legally, you're allowed to throw it away. The government doesn't care what you do with it because it's your business. But maybe your insides, your morality says, it's not right to throw this food away when I could be feeding somebody with it. So you decide that it would be morally better for you to find a way to donate it or share it with someone in need. That's what morality is. No one is forcing you. It's not a law. It's just you doing what you believe is right based on the way you were raised, based on the culture that you live in, based on the environment that you grew up in, based on your spiritual or religious beliefs. Okay, so what's legal? So that's a little bit different. Legal has nothing to do with how you feel, has nothing to do with how you were raised. It's what the government, the local government, the city government, the county, the state, the federal government says you must do, or what you cannot do. So a cannot do would be you cannot go faster than the posted speed limit. And there's reasons why the government expects you to adhere to that speed limit. Or there's things that the government requires you do as a business owner. You have to have a food license, for example. That's required. You have to have that. If not, then you are in violation of the law, and there's going to be repercussions for that. So let's say that you're operating without a current health permit. Even if you keep your kitchen spotless, you took the food manager certification, you know how to prevent people from getting sick based on how you hold and prepare your food. You know that, but it's still illegal. The health department doesn't care how you feel about the operation. They don't care about your educational background concerning the operation. What they care about is that you went through the processes and the procedures to get a license. The government granting you permission to sell food to the public. The only thing that matters to the health department, are you legal? So now let's talk about ethical. So it's moral, legal, now we're talking about ethical. Ethics are what your industry or your community agrees is the right way to behave. So for example, let's say that there's a new food truck on the block and you decide that you're going to slash your prices because you're afraid and you want to lure their guests away from them. And you know that because you've got a little bit of an established background and you have a little bit of money in the bank because you've been operational and you're profitable, you can force them out of business just by slashing prices below what they could possibly afford. Now, is it legal? Absolutely. Is it moral? Probably not, but it could be. Maybe that's the way you were raised. Do whatever it takes is a common theme for business people. So that would make it moral based on do whatever it takes. But is it ethical? No, it is not. It goes against the idea of fair competition. It goes against the idea of helping each other grow. It goes against the idea of uplifting the whole industry so people stop looking at us as being just roach coaches and part-timers that are hobbyists that only work on the weekends and go to another job through the week. Now, if that describes what you do, that's awesome. But you still have moral, legal, and ethical obligations to the industry, to yourself. So why does it matter? Why are we even talking about this? Your reputation is everything. If you plan on being successful, and in order to be successful, that means your business has to be profitable and it has to be duplicatable for someone else. Doesn't mean that you have a second or third or fifth or 20th food truck, but you don't want to spend your time going out there selling food and not developing a reputation that encourages people to come to your business. Your guests don't know the law, but they sure know when something doesn't feel right. That's where reputation comes in. They know there's something wrong. They may not be able to put their finger on it. Other vendors may not call you out because, hey, they don't want to get in your business. But word still travels fast when someone isn't playing fairly. If you want to be known as a trusted and respected operator, you have to ask yourself these questions for every decision that you do that involves your business. Am I doing what's right for me? That answers the morality question. Am I doing what's required by the law? That answers the legal question. Am I doing what's expected by my industry? What's the best practices in this industry? That's ethical. If you can answer all three with a yes, guess what? You got a good chance of being successful. But if you have a no mixed in there somewhere, you're a hobbyist. You're somebody that doesn't care about the industry, and you're creating just side income. Don't waste your time listening to the podcast if all you're wanting to do is create side income, because you're going to ignore the best advice and do what you think's right. You might cover the morality part of your equation, but you're not covering the ethics and you're not covering the legal side. So here's your challenge. Take 5 minutes and ask yourself, have I been in a situation where those lines have become blurred? Where do I need to tighten up things so that I stay compliant, I stay moral, and I stay ethical so that I will become respected as a business owner? I want you to think differently about how you run your food truck. I want you to always frame everything moral, legal, ethical. Guess what? Once you get through that filter, then there's 2 more questions you got to ask. Will this improve my revenue? Will this increase my revenue? Will this improve my profitability? Answer those 2 questions with a yes. Guess what? You have the perfect decision then. It's moral, it's legal, it's ethical. Those 3 filters have to be answered with a yes. Then, will it improve my revenue? Will it increase my profitability? You get 2 more yeses, and you need to do that policy or that procedure. You need to do it, and you'll become unstoppable. Most people have a breakdown in one of those 5 areas. They'll skip over it, and they'll be fine with it. And then they'll wonder why they're not as successful as they could be. Moral, legal, ethical. Will it raise my revenue? Will it improve my profits? Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding everything helpful that we do, please consider subscribing. If you love what we do, show some support. There's a link in the description to make that happen. Until next time, you guys have a profitable day.